Redditors that host their home on Airbnb, what has been your worst experience with a guest? I used to travel a lot for work and I would put my apartment up on Airbnb while I was away. My apartment has a bunch of closets and drawers which I used to leave empty and at my guest's disposal. However, there is one closet in the bedroom, which I kept locked, cause it is where I keep my personal belongings. One time a guest left a bad review saying that the place had no storage space, which I was very confused about until I got home and saw my closet. Dude had tried to open it using brute force. The door was almost pulled off its hinges, and the wood was chipped in some places. The door in question had 2 padlocks, and the perfectly usable closet on the opposite wall wasn't a shade. Rented out to a group of 4 girls. Turns out they were going partying every day during their stay. I get called one day at 5 AM. It's the guard from my building telling me there's a passed out girl in the lobby's couch, puking and pissing herself. None of her friends had gone back to help her. Ruined the couch obviously. The next day they send me a message again. Another one of the girls had sprinted to the building stairs and also pissed herself. A friend of mine rented to a girl who was convinced that there were cameras hidden all around the unit. She dismantled the lighting fixtures, picture frames, medicine cabinets, remote controls, etc. Edit. This occurred in 2015. They were live-in hosts renting out the main part of their home. She also depotted plants, removed smoke detectors, hid all of the refrigerator magnets, and destroyed her cell phone. They were compensated by Airbnb. Thank you, Reddit, for an excuse to reach out to an old friend. We are live-in hosts, so we are present while guests stay in our spare room. A guest arrived and immediately announced that they had shit himself during their journey. They then marked us down for cleanliness. Mate, you shit yourself. Also a guest who found a pair of my flip-flops in a wardrobe that they should not have opened, then shit over the bathroom floor, ruining my favorite flip-flops in the process. Also, a guest who went out drinking for 10 hours before checking in, meaning I had to collect them from the taxi, put them in bed in the recovery position, check on them when I woke up for work, then call the taxi company on their behalf when it turned out they'd lost their phone. I worked in a call center that handles some of Airbnb's customer service. So, one guest murdered 2 people in the host's home and got arrested there. Another guest was from a culture that eats iguanas and barbecued up a 7-year-old girl's pet iguana to serve to the family as thanks for hosting him. Another guest filled a mug with human shit and left it in the host's microwave. You really lose all faith in humanity working in customer service call centers. Editing to Airbnb requires photo evidence for all host complaints, and guess who is the first to see them? The initial customer service agent, who may only be on their first or second day taking calls. And the iguana man was forced to pay for both a new barbecue for the family and a replacement iguana. Not a host, but I stayed at an Airbnb that rented 2 rooms. I was in bed, and hear the other guest, a man and women, return. They're loud and drunk, but nothing crazy. About 10 minutes later I hear what I thought was them having sex, but then quickly realize it's someone getting hit. The host and I both hear this. The host starts knocking on the door, asking what's going on and to open the door. The woman opens the door and her lip is split wide open. She's bleeding all down her shirt. The guy is in the room, but runs out with a backpack and leaves. He's taken both of their cell phones and wallets. The police show up and everyone gives statements. They found him walking down the road, and he found different accommodations at the police station. I slept fine. The room was Harry Potter themed, so I still left 5 stars. A guy I work with told this story, how he hired a maid through a referral from his friend. She was great apparently, and asked to stay there a couple times when he was gone. After he agreed to let her stay a few weeks, when it wasn't being rented however, she ghosted him. He ended up calling the cops and they checked up on her. She was there and although nervous, everything seemed normal. She later got a hold of him and asked to stay longer. He said no. Clean it and get out. He comes back randomly to his house at 5 AM a few days later to someone sleeping in his downstairs room with dirty dishes and cigarette butts everywhere. Ends up it's this maid's heroin addicted husband. He had been using it as a flop house and drug den. This guy escorted the husband out by gunpoint pantsless. The place was trashed downstairs, but apparently perfectly clean still upstairs. His TV was stolen, but the husband brought it back and left it in the driveway, so he didn't get charged with theft. Apparently there was little he could do about the free stay the husband took advantage of.